Based off the book of the same name, Ready Player One follows Wade Watts, played by Ty Sheridan, as he lives in a society that has decided not to fix the present problems in the world and escape into the Oasis in the past. The brainchild of James Halliday, played by Mark Rylance. One day, Halliday dies and kickstarts a competition for users to find 3 keys. Using these keys will unlock the golden ticket, golden Easter egg, which in turn will grant control of the Oasis. At the same time, Sorrento, played by Ben Mendelsohn, is seeking to control the Oasis for corporate purposes, such as loot boxes. All joking aside, the best thing I can say about this film is how much of a glorified nerdfest it all is. The Oasis is filled to the brim with references, except for the ones that the producers couldn't buy for the film. The Oasis feels lived in, and not a single detail is left unturned. This is a perfect juxtaposition to the real world that Wade and the rest of society experience when they are outside of the goggles and haptic suits. The acting is good, for the most part, from all the players, and adds a sense of spirit to this fan film. I honestly thought that I would have a problem with the CG, but for the most part, it is handled pretty well, with an added mix of experimentation with camera movements. The 3 challenges that are presented in the film are not the same as the ones in the book, but what they replace them with is some of the best set pieces I've ever seen. The race sequence is some of the most thrilling I have seen in recent memory and utilizes Spielberg's chase scene techniques. While it was sad that the film didn't do a War Games reenactment, what they replaced it with is 100 times better, and it caught me off guard as just how cool it really was to see it all play out. Again, no spoilers. The heart, story, and themes are all still present, despite heavy changes to the story and compression of the scope of the real-world aspect. What Ready Player One accomplishes the most through its building is a sense of what the society is in this universe. Overtly obsessed with pop culture to the point where no one wants to leave it. The past is a safe place for them, as the present is so shitty. This can be seen as a direct parallel to how our current media landscape views nostalgia. The film also touches on the voluntary isolationism that comes with this kind of society and having to learn to navigate the real world without the use of anonymity. But it is a small detail that isn't fully explored. Now comes the part of the review where I have to lay down the negatives. The characters don't get a lot of development, or even characterization. For as much life as the film puts into the Oasis, the film's characters feel hollow, almost inhuman in a way. We don't know much about their personalities, or even get a good sense for why they feel so disenfranchised to the point where they want to escape. Those sections are just kind of glanced over, and leads to the film lacking a lot of the deeper emotional chords that the film could have plucked. It helps to read the book, but it speaks volumes about how good a film's story is by the measure of how much homework one needs to do in order to understand it. There is some pacing issues towards the middle of the second act, and the third act can feel a bit bloated. The references could have been a film killer, but luckily the references are used more as a window dressing of sorts to tie into the film's aesthetic theming. There is one short scene that went a little bit too far with the references, but aside from that, the references are just kinda icing on the cake. With all that being out of the way, Ready Player One is another fun, optimistic, futurist blockbuster from Spielberg that will please most fans of the book, and will genuinely make you squeal as to how many friggin' references and characters they can throw at you in this film. This is by far the most nerdy film I have ever seen. This is worth a watch at least for a matinee or at least a general audience screening and possibly a home media purchase. I award Ready Player One a B-.